When most people think about a simple life in the countryside, they envisage escaping the stresses of modern society. Being free from financial pressures, having space to grow their own food, and enjoying a slower pace of life.
And we were no exception to this. So for years, we felt like something was missing from our lives. A feeling of unfulfillment and yearning for our own version of this simpler life.
We wanted to try and make more room in our lives for things that were important to us, like spending more quality time together and having space to build things and learn new skills.
A life where we got to spend more time outdoors. One where we could free ourselves from some financial burdens and the ever-increasing cost of living, and to have more time for hobbies which had fallen by the wayside.
We were by no means dreaming of a work-free life or retirement, nor were we dreaming of living frugally and being completely self-sufficient. For us, the dream lay somewhere in between.
After making the bold move to leave behind our previous lifestyle and then put the wheels in motion to achieve our new vision, we are still very much in the process of trying to figure it all out.
So after a few years of trial and error and simply giving it a go, we wanted to pass on our knowledge of what we've learned so far.
And as always, we've got a load of things that need taking care of here on the land, so let's get going.
I'll put it back in the side room.
Now, if you're dreaming of a simple life, let us tell you firsthand that simple does not mean easy. It's a lot of hard work, particularly if you live off-grid. Now, we definitely work much harder than we ever did before when we were in a conventional life with 9 to 5s. When we had our house, we only had a small to medium-sized garden to tend to, and when we lived in a flat or an apartment, we had no garden at all.
So just to clarify, although our life here isn't easy and we work really hard, it's considerably more rewarding.
It's gonna be hot in here. Ooh.
Living a simple life leads people to think that you have a lot more spare time for your hobbies, reading, relaxing. But if you want to grow your own food and you have a large piece of land to look after, it consumes a lot of your spare time. Of course, if you don't have a job, then this will be more manageable. But if you're working like we do, then you're going to spend most of your weekends doing boring, routine tasks, and it's essential that you can find a way to enjoy them.
Now, I dream of the day when I just get to spend hours on end playing the guitar whilst Victoria is drawing and painting, but acquiring that extra time is something that we haven't quite yet mastered. Now, to be fair, this is pretty much our own doing because we've bought a property where there's lots of renovations to do, and also we've started this YouTube channel, and this takes a lot of work. There's a lot of work to film it, there's a lot of work to edit it as well, and we're doing this around work schedules, so our spare time is limited as a result of that. So if you want lots of spare time living this type of life, buy a nice small project property that really doesn't need a lot of work, and don't start a YouTube channel. But honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way because we've really loved making these videos and seeing the community that builds around them. And week in, week out, your positive comments actually spur us on a lot to keep going. So we really appreciate it.
Back in the UK, Teddy used to go to a doggy daycare 5 days a week while we were at work, and he definitely enjoyed it because he got to roll around and run with about 30 dogs every day. But come the evening, he was totally wiped out, so we didn't get the benefit of being able to play with him. Hands down, one of our favourite aspects about this lifestyle is that we get to be with our dogs all day, every day, and having the land here to actually walk our dogs is a complete luxury. So if you like to spend all of your days with your dogs or your pets, then this could be the lifestyle for you. If if anybody saw the video last week and are curious about the outcome of our wager concerning these seeds and which ones were going to germinate first, well, here's my euro because Ricky is the winner. The lettuce were the first to germinate by a long way.
But the radishes were a close second.
Yeah, they are. Look. So while we de-weed this rather neglected area of our land, let's talk about money.
Money is one of the biggest stresses for most people in modern life, and I imagine it's probably a big motivator for most people wanting to live a simpler life. I think living a simpler life in the countryside can definitely help to reduce some of those financial pressures, particularly if you can afford to buy a property or land outright without a loan or mortgage. Now, this will probably mean moving away from your hometown or city to somewhere that's cheaper, and that potentially could mean another country. And with a big move like that to somewhere that's potentially far away, that can have its own pitfalls, but we'll get to that later.
Just because you're living a simple life doesn't mean it's free, and most people will find that they need a somewhat stable income solution. But how much you earn, well, for every individual that will be different.
Now, one thing that was completely new to us when we moved out into the countryside here was the concept of people bartering. And I mean, I guess it's something that harks back to how people traditionally lived cooperatively within the communities, but it's something we'd never seen before. In this area, people tend to barter things like olives, grapes, seasonal produce, or it could even be exchanges in labour. Now, obviously, this isn't for everyone. We've never bartered anything, and there are lots of things where, you know, bartering is just not possible. Many things require hard cash. For example, property taxes, land taxes, car insurance, medicine. You need money to pay for all these things. Also things like mobile phones and internet. Some people can live without them, but I think most people will not want to give those things up in this day and age.
That's a big boy.
Well, this bench is actually going to need a bit more levelling of the ground before we can put these pavers under the feet. So I'm going to have to run back and grab the spade for that. But before we do that, let's take a seat and talk to you about work and earning money.
When we first moved here, we wanted to spend as much time as possible on our land with each other and with the dogs. And we didn't want to spend hours per week commuting. It has always felt like a bit of a waste of time. And Ricky, especially when we lived in the UK, had a really long commute each day.
But since we moved to the countryside, we no longer have to commute, which is amazing. We've gained back all of those wasted hours that I had back in the UK, and that for us is a big win.
The key ingredient for us was finding online work that we could do remotely from anywhere. For us, living a simple life and living in a rural location went hand in hand, but it's undeniable that in the countryside there are far fewer job opportunities, especially when you're living in a foreign country and you're not yet proficient in the local language.
Figuring out a few different ways in which you can make income before you move is the best gift you can give yourself, because it's going to alleviate so much stress that will come further down the line.
On a practical side note, working remotely usually will require you to have a fast and reliable internet connection, something which is not always achievable in a remote and rural location. It took us a few months to actually get this right, ploughing our way through 3 providers before we actually found one that was fast enough.
One expectation of this way of life that we have, and I'm pretty sure most other people will have, is that when you have a farm or you have a property like this, you'll spend most of your time living in your own little bubble with the people that you live with. And that is true. However, it can be pretty isolating. Now, this obviously varies depending on where you live and the type of person that you are. I think I should put this axe down because I'm a hands person when I talk and I'm flinging this all around by my face. Now, although we make YouTube videos and we put large parts of our life online, don't be fooled, we're actually pretty introverted people, so we never really feel that need to go and meet new people frequently. We're really fortunate, both of us, that we have such long-lasting friendships with people from back home, and with modern technology it's so easy to stay in touch with these people, whether it's WhatsApp group messages, social media, video calls. You know, it really does allow us to stay connected even though we all live in different countries. That being said, the hardest part of this lifestyle for us is missing friends and family back home, and obviously because we live in another country, it takes a lot more time, money and effort to meet up with these people in person.
If you own a large piece of land and you're trying to grow your own food all year round, and especially if you have farm animals, international travel is not that easy to do because you can't just simply lock up and leave the property. While you're away, your animals and plants are going to need daily care, and finding somebody that you trust to do that isn't always that simple. We love our land, make no mistake about it, but cabin fever is real. We live, work and sleep in a 30-metre square, unrenovated barn with our 2 dogs. It's cosy and it can be intense, especially during the winter when the days are so much shorter and you spend more hours indoors. So if you're somebody who needs a little bit of space or privacy from your partner and dogs, maybe this setup isn't going to be ideal for you. On an almost daily basis, we face problems and tasks that we've got no previous experience about how to do them and how to solve the problem. And it can be pretty stressful at times.
But we found that persevering through those problems to try and find solutions has led to just so much personal growth.
I agree.
We've gained so many new skills and acquired so much more confidence as a result. And it just means that every new issue or difficulty we face now, it's that little bit less stressful and less daunting. It's
definitely one of the most rewarding aspects of living this kind of lifestyle, even if it was a little bit stressful in the heat of the moment. So, do we feel free and fulfilled since adopting this lifestyle?
Well, we certainly feel freer and more fulfilled than we did in our previous life, just on a day-to-day basis. But we're still just trying to figure it all out. We're still learning and trying to achieve that life that we dreamt of. And we know that this lifestyle still has so much more to offer.
We hope that this has been interesting for anybody who wants a little insight into this way of life, and we will see you on the next one.